And welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. Now, did you know that the first ever NFL draft pick, Jay Burwanger, who was a running back from the University of Chicago, and he also secured the first Heisman Trophy ever, did not play a single down of NFL football due to the fact that he didn't want to leave his job as a rubber salesman because it paid better. And with the low wages in the NFL, I guess he didn't want to take a risk. So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Bob Fan 101, with my good friends and co-hosts, Christian, aka Seawheel.
Hello, everybody.
And Cam, aka Noticed_Cam.
Howdy, y'all.
So let's get down to talking about some sports. We're going to kick things off with the NFL. So obviously the draft was this past week. It started on Thursday. The first pick of the draft was for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they picked a surprising player. What did you guys think of the draft? What about your teams?
I'll be honest with you, this year's draft I didn't pay much attention to as compared to the last couple of years. I didn't know most of these players, but a lot of Georgia players and Alabama players were drafted this year.
Of course.
Now I could talk a little bit about my favorite team, some of my favorite additions, or not my favorites because I didn't make the picks, but favorite draft picks that teams chose. Two of my favorite teams, the Steelers and Panthers, both got quarterbacks, and both got quarterbacks that I really wanted to see on them. I mean, Kenny Pickett, he played for Pittsburgh, all-time leading passing yards for University of Pittsburgh Panthers. Really cool to see him go to the Steelers. I hope he'll do great there. And for the Panthers, Matt Corral. I said this months ago on the show that I thought Matt Corral was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He did have that knee injury. He's a great running quarterback. He can also pass great. So we'll see. I mean, we have seen quarterbacks do great in college and do bad in the NFL, but I hope that Matt Corral will be a great quarterback for my Carolina Panthers. Now, Calvin Austin, I feel like he was a great wide receiver that went to the Steelers. Really, really like that pick. And for the Eagles, Jordan Davis, they got him, as I mentioned earlier, Georgia players. Jordan Davis, one of the top defensive tackles in the draft, went to the Eagles at number 13. And they also got another linebacker from Georgia, the Kobe Dean. And for the Seahawks, no quarterbacks for the Seahawks, which surprised me. It really did surprise me that the Seahawks didn't get a quarterback, but a lot of they got a couple linemen, but also a lot of defensive players and cornerbacks like Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati, which he played really good this past year. I'm surprised he went in the 4th round. I thought he would be higher than that. Then Tariq Woolen from UTSA, another cornerback, and Bo Melton from Rutgers is wide receiver. I felt like Kenneth Walker went too low, but it's really close to Kenneth Walker go to the Seattle Seahawks because we need to reestablish the run game. Even though our running game has been good the last 2 years, we need to have someone who can pull a lot of yards like Marshawn Lynch. I think Kenneth Walker from Michigan State could fulfill the spot that's been missing at the running back position for the last couple years in Seattle.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that Seattle didn't go with a QB. I know that they're desperate for one, but at the same time, I mean, you look at this year's QB drafts, the drafting for these QBs, I mean, it was rough. I mean, there were not a lot of options for QBs. Usually that's like one of the main things you see. But this year, I mean, the draft was definitely underwhelming, I think, for a lot of teams. You have these slump years like this. I don't really pay attention much to the draft. Even like from last year, I never really really kept my eyes on it that much. I more so just stay focused on my team, which I'm gonna talk about a couple of people and my opinions on them as a Vikings fan. My first one was our first pick, which was Lewis Sign. He's from Georgia. Here's my thing. Here's my problem. Okay. We got him. He's a defensive back. But like he plays defensive back, but he also plays like cornerback at the same time. It's weird. But my thing is that it's like I don't really feel like we need that as an asset. I feel like we have a lot of those guys. We have a lot of younger guys that we drafted last year. So it's like, what's the point of getting another one? I have no clue. Maybe they got something planned. Maybe they're gonna trade him. But I just feel like for our first pick to get him, I just was kind of stupid in my opinion. Now one of these that I did think was a major W, and yes, this is a cornerback, but I will say it's a major W for one reason. It is Booth Jr. He's from Clemson, and he is really good. He is very good, and the fact that nobody's picked up this guy, I was very surprised. Because I after the draft, it was like midway through the draft, I kind of look at these guys and see who they are as players before I make my assessment. And he, for what we got him at, was crazy. Major W. I definitely think he will help out the team. I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that we're just going to put up there and not do anything with. Now, the other guy I do want to talk about, which is what we need, is a guard. We need some O-linemen on the Vikings, okay? Because we suck. Our O-lineman is horrible, all right? I mean, we just paid $32 million for Kirk Cousins. Well, he's $32 million. We can't get him injured at this point. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's just not going to happen for 1 year. I can't believe that. What are you doing, you idiots? Anyways, Jefferson is probably going to leave us to go to the Bengals with his other teammates. It's okay, though. Anyways, so Ed Ingram, all right, he's a guard from Georgia, but he's also Georgia and LSU. I think last year he played was LSU, which we got him in round 2. And this man is a beast. I'm glad we got a guard. I'm hoping he can do his job. Some of his clips were a little iffy when I looked at the drafts, like when they were doing the draft day stuff and seeing, how they are as a player. But, there's also those times where I think he could be something important if he had the right leadership. I'm hoping maybe we can get something out of him. And then the last person I think I'm going to talk about is Michigan State wide receiver Jalen Naylor. I'm very excited about him. He is a speedy guy. We need speed on our team. I feel like we don't really have enough of that. Adam Thielen, he's more of like a route guy. He's a route runner. Justin Jefferson, he's speed, but I mean, he's a little bit of everything. So I feel like Jalen Naylor would be a nice add to the team, and he could really prove something. That's really all I have. I'm excited to see how it goes, but I don't know. Some of the decisions I'm happy with, but some of them I'm 50-50 on.
Yeah, I agree with you with your points, Cam. Definitely. Now y'all's first 6 draft picks were all defensive picks, all defensive players.
I know.
Y'all's last 4 was offense, and yeah, y'all got a lot of players in defensive backfield. But I feel like most of these picks are really solid. Andrew Booth, like you mentioned, I feel like he was definitely too low. But I'm really glad to see that 2 of my favorite college teams have players that went to your team. Jalen Naylor from Michigan State and Nick Muse tied in from South Carolina. I
did see Nick Muse. And I'm kind of excited about him. I kind of watched some of his clips. He's like a smaller tight end, but he's more maneuverable. It's crazy. Like he's pretty fast for what he is. He was at the University of South Carolina, I believe, if I remember. And yeah, we did get a lot of defense. I've noticed this, and I guess I can see why. I think this next offseason we're gonna have. I kind of am afraid that we're gonna be cutting some defensive players that are important. I kind of wonder. It's a little scary to think about, but really, I feel like we should have stocked up on more on the offense a little bit, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, I get why, but it's like with defense, it's like we were only getting outfield guys. We weren't getting any like rough and tough. Like, what about like a defensive end or something on the defensive line would have been nice, I guess, for me. It would have pleased me a little more, but it was definitely more outfield guys. And then on the offense, I mean, they were kind of looking for receiver options, and I don't blame them for not really wanting to get a quarterback there, but I definitely think we're going to need a quarterback sooner than later if we want Jefferson to stay. I mean, no matter what, I mean, we're going to have to realize as the Vikings fans that Jefferson's going to have to deal with a crappy year with the Vikings, and he's going to have to stay for a good reward. You know what I mean? Because I do think that this sooner or later, like after this year, I do believe that we're going to get a better QB. We're getting someone much more compatible now. Who? I have no clue. I mean, there's a lot of options. I imagine that's going to be on the board. I really wish we would have picked up Marcus Mariota. I thought he would have been great to have. I still think he can be starting QB material just for a year even. I mean, that's the whole point, was to hang on. And he wouldn't have been $32 million just for 1 year. I mean, And then the worst part is if Kirk Cousins goes down for the year, it's like we just wasted $32 million. And that's also scary to think about.
Yeah.
Right. So the first 10 picks of the draft were Trayvon Walker, who was pretty surprising. A lot of people had the Jaguars taking Hutchinson, but okay, I don't really know what to say about that. Hutchinson obviously went second. Derek Stingley Jr., good pickup for the Texans. Sauce Gardner going to the Jets at number 4. The Jets really won the draft because they got a lot of star power. Sauce Gardner, obviously. So I think the Jets have talent on paper. Kavion, the Thibodeaux, I'm not sure how exactly you pronounce that name, to the Giants, and Evan Neal to the Giants as well with 5 and 7 respectively. Giants had a lot of picks, and that was very smart of them to stockpile these picks. Akeem Ekuwanu for the Panthers. He is an offensive tackle. That's a decent pickup. I think a lot of people were saying it was a very smart move, which I thought they were going to pick Pickett, considering a lot of the mock drafts. And I was really shocked that the Steelers picked him up since they had Trubisky. But I think that's smart to have Pickett and then have Trubisky start for at least a season, then have Pickett develop, because Pickett, he does have those small hands, even though that has not been too much of a problem for a lot of players like Joe Burrow, for example. Drake London, he went to the Falcons. That is a good pickup for them on paper. A lot of people were saying he's really pro-ready, and I could see that. So I think he would work very well with Marcus Mariota, and Atlanta is really rebuilding their wide receiver core with Calvin Ridley out for the season and no Julio Jones. Charles Cross, he went to the Seahawks. Good pickup for them. And Garrett Wilson, another star power player for the Jets. My favorite team, the Commanders, I don't know how I feel about their draft because they had the 11th pick and they were looking for Chris Olave, I think is how you pronounce his name, from Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was following one of my favorite sports reporters, JP Finlay, and he said this is a good idea so they can get Olave. I'm like, okay, this is a decent idea. And what did the Saints do? They traded the pick with the Saints to get into the 3rd round. What did the Saints do? They picked Chris. So I'm just like, wow, you could have kept your pick and picked Chris. But no, they picked Jahan Dotson from Penn State. I was a little iffy on this selection, but after watching some of his highlights, he's a pretty good player. He's very athletic. I noticed he was making a lot of one-handed catches, but I don't think he's going to be doing that in the NFL. We really just need that size for him to get away from these bigger defenders and that speed. And he seems to have that, so I'm interested to see what he can bring to the table. Mm-hmm. We got Fedarian Mathis with our 2nd round pick. I don't know how I feel about that because we have way too many defensive tackles, but the guy looked pretty good from the highlight tape that I saw, so I'm interested to see him. Brian Robinson Jr., his teammate from Alabama. I don't really know how much we needed another running back, but hearing about this guy, I'm pretty intrigued to see how he plays. And a big pickup was Sam Howell. Yeah. I'm a little bit still on the fence about Howell, but the thing is that if Carson Wentz continues to be inconsistent and he gets hurt again, we have Sam Howell developing with Heineke and Wentz ahead of him. I feel like Sam Howell could really be a great pickup and could hopefully be a good star player. So I am somewhat excited for him. I'm not really going to talk about the other guys because I just plain don't know who they are. One thing that did somewhat surprise me was the lack of quarterbacks, how low some of the quarterbacks were going. I thought the Saints were going to pick up Malik Willis at 11 or in their late first-round pick, but they didn't. And I understand that, this draft was not filled with star quarterbacks. I get that. But at the same time, a lot of these teams have quarterbacks that are potentially on their way out or on the hot seat and could use that to develop them, to get them pro ready to what you want for your standards. And a lot of teams were avoiding it. And same with Nakobe Dean. I heard he had a pec injury, but I don't think that's a good reason to let him slip all the way to the 5th round. Jameson Williams from Alabama, that was another wide receiver I wanted that they could have taken at 11 if they didn't trade down, but they let him slip, and a lot of teams were still picking him up even though he tore his ACL. And same with Matt Corral. He went and like the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah, I want to comment real quick about the Commanders. Sam Howell, I'm really happy for him that he got drafted. And I mean, I thought he was going to go 3rd round, but 5's still pretty good. And Sam Howell's he played for my favorite college teams, North Carolina. And I think that was a smart move by Washington. I was going to say the Redskins. I think that was a smart pick. Like you said, I agree with your points with that. Now, y'all also did draft Chris Paul. He's a guard, but not the guard in the NBA, an offensive guard from Tulsa. But y'all had, if I'm correct, 5 players. Y'all drafted 5 offensive players and 3 defensive players. But that's all I have to add with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the wrong Chris Paul. I would like the other one, but it is what it is.
Chris Paul, the Wizards, the question mark.
Yep. In other news in the NFL, the Cardinals finally pick up the 5th-year option for Kyler Murray. I wasn't too surprised that they did this, but with how he was throwing like a mini temper tantrum, I am a little surprised, but I think it's a decent move for the Cardinals. We'll see if they can get to the playoffs again and maybe go far this time. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Cardinals, they did really good at the beginning of last season, and it just went downhill. So we'll see if they improve. We'll see. We still got a while to go before the season starts. All right, so I guess.
Okay.
I guess we'll go to the NBA or baseball.
Well, we got the Commanders. The Commanders have started to negotiate a new contract, for Terry McLaurin. I hope they re-sign Terry, but if he doesn't come back, I understand why. He's had 8 different starting quarterbacks. That's another fun fact. He's had like 3-4 seasons in the league already and 8 quarterbacks, which is extremely sad. But that just shows you what a crappy organization the Commanders are, even though they're my favorite team. So hopefully we can re-sign him, but I know it's not going to be cheap or at a price that would have been acceptable last season.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add with that. I don't.
So I guess we need to do the NBA. I'm not sure where Cam is at right now.
Well, I guess we'll just move on to NBA.
Well, like an idiot, I was muted the whole time. Oh, that's great. That's what I'm like wondering. I was wondering the whole time. You can leave this in, Mike. I was like, man, I'm like, are they just really stupid? Or are they like not hearing me? Like, what's going on? I'm giving my opinion on all this crap and nothing. Are you for real? All right. What I was trying to say was I hope the Commanders, that would really suck though if they give away Terry. That'd be horrible. I mean, that's a garbage situation in my opinion. Because I feel like he's a good wide receiver, but I feel like in order to get him back, I don't think he really cares. I think he likes the Washington fan base. I think he knows that they love them. Well, they love him, and I think he loves them too. I think it's more of just it comes down to the money that they're going to give him. I mean, if they're going to be cheap, he's going to go somewhere else.
Right, exactly.
All right, now let's get into baseball. So first in the news is Mets right-handed pitcher Chris Bassett says that Major League Baseball does not care about bad baseballs, causing more hit by pitches this year. Bassett during yesterday's postgame said, "I had some close calls tonight. I've been hit in the face. I don't ever want to do that to anybody ever. MLB has a very big problem with the baseballs. They're bad. Everyone knows it. Every pitcher in the league knows it." Bassett even added later, "They don't care. MLB doesn't give a damn about it. They don't care. We've told them about our problems with them. They don't care." Uh, clearly he's stating his stress on this, and I think it's pretty crappy that you're not only putting, at the end of the day, MLB, let's think about this. You're putting yourselves more harm than you are the players. These are your guys. These are your entertainment. This is also going to make you look bad if more hit by pitches happen. The pitchers aren't going to get as much hate when they really flip it on your head. And, I feel like it's like we just got done with the MLB and, the Players Association, and it's like there's still constant problems going on. It's insane.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure. I know that I'm sure you got plenty of MLB news, but I know one big thing or storyline from this week was the whole thing with Trevor Bauer. With him,
I was going to bring that up. Yep.
Yeah. So, what's y'all's thoughts on that? I think it's kind of crazy because then again, he's not guilty until proven in court. But where's the evidence? What's y'all's thoughts?
I haven't really looked into this case too much. Like, they're giving him a suspension, but I haven't heard about any evidence of him doing something. Like, I haven't seen any like real evidence of him doing something to a girl or doing something. Like, I guess that's why I'm afraid to judge him on this because I haven't seen anything. I guess if they haven't seen anything yet, then yes, Bauer should definitely go and appeal it. But if he is something, then why are we just giving him a 2-year suspension if it is real? Kick him out the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, kick him out the league. But if it's not real, and it's like they're doing it without any evidence, then I absolutely think that lady should get charged.
Right.
He's already been gone for 2 years. Why are we gonna send him back another 2?
Right.
That's just a horrible thing in my opinion. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I hope that Trevor Bauer didn't do that. He used to be a Reds player. I used to love him. I still kind of do, but man, if he really did do that, that's gonna suck. I do think that the MLB does not like Bauer though for exposing the whole sticky stuff thing. I imagine they don't like him. And I imagine players don't like him either.
Right. I was a little surprised by it because I didn't really hear that he did something like what you were saying, Cam, and it just came so random. I think it's a little unnecessary until he's actually proven guilty. But if he's proven innocent and he still has this 2-year suspension, then the MLB is whacker than anybody thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you have anything else to say on that, Christian?
No, I don't.
No. All right. Okay. Another news. Okay. Now, this isn't really big news, but I wanted to point this out because I thought this was a piece of crap thing. Oakland A's team president Dave Cowell seemingly called out Giants fans for poor attendance during their Bay Bridge series opener yesterday. I'd like to say this now. Cowell, just in your last game, you had under 3,000 fans at your stadium. All right. Let's put that into perspective real quick. All right. You have green and yellow a John Deere tractor colors for a team, Cowell. All right. No one cares that. Why are you hating on another team when your team's in the biggest debt there is? Let's talk about that scandal you had not too long ago with your players and drugs that they had. More than 5 players on your team were using drug enhancements, and it was all leading back to you and your organization. You also look anorexic. Wow. All right, I'm on to my next thing. So now I'm gonna give some backstory on this one, right? So we got some MLB drama. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, baby. We got benches clear. This was between the Mets reliever Yohan Lopez, who throws it up and in on the Cardinal slugger Nolan. I don't know why I said Nolan. Nolan Arenado.
and it's up and in, and you had to know that was coming. And Arenado nods out at Lopez as if to say, I knew, and now he says, come get me. And here we go. You knew something was going to happen, and here it is. Both benches empty, and they are really going at it now. This has been brewing for the last couple of days. And after J.D. Davis got drilled in the ankle, bodies start to fly. And it's these Cabrera who hit J.D. Davis is right in the middle of it.
That's Pete in the middle of it.
Now, the whole reason this happened, I can give you a great backstory to this, okay? First of all, Mets players have been hit constantly this season, but they've been having a lot of hits, especially near the head against the Cardinals. So this was basically a deliberate attack at Nolan Arenado on purpose. So, things were going to happen, and then in the post game, Mets manager, he had his things to say about it. And people were making fun of Nolan because he was basically like saying like, oh, nothing should have happened, da 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 da. So everybody's kind of calling Nolan Arenado soft, and it's a bunch of bull. I think anything is just a way of condoning yourself. And maybe he understands what they're talking about. But I mean, at the same time, it's like it's okay to maybe hit somebody. I mean, I don't support that either, really. I feel like that's stupid in baseball. But to aim up at someone's head, even if they're aiming at your guys' head constantly, it's just not right to do. Anything you guys want to say on it?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like that wasn't right to do with the Cardinals. Yeah. I saw that. That was really sad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Cardinals fan, but it's just they have the certain, I don't know if you'd say protocols, but with the MLB, just some of the unwritten rules. I don't have anything else that would be different than what y'all said.
Those unwritten rules are so stupid. That's like when teams need to just get over themselves. Like if you're up in a game and there's 3 balls and there's no strikes, that you're supposed to just take a strike, even if it's right in the middle of the plate. Come on. You're just a sore loser at that point. I can't stand it. I'm stressed out today with the MLB boys. Tell you. In other news, the Atlanta Braves, they finally reinstated outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. He was injured, which he already made his debut this year against Chicago, which he did pretty good, man. He looks like he's back to his normal self. He's cooking it up.
For real. I'm glad he's back. I was thinking about wearing his shirt for this episode, but I didn't. I just wanted the tank top like Mike, but I'm just so glad that he's back. But then again, the Braves, we've been struggling this year. It's been pretty rough so far. We've lost today to the Rangers, of all teams. So,
oh boy, you want to talk about struggling? I'm gonna get to that later. In other news, Royals shortstop Alberto Mondesi has a ACL tear in his left knee and will miss the remainder of the 2022 season. That's a rip. I think he was actually looking to be pretty good this year. That's the craziest part. And then now here's also I forgot to give you guys this update like an idiot. I wrote this down and everything. So I forgot to add this, by the way, to the Cardinals and the whole Cardinals mess thing. Nolan Arenado was suspended for 2 games for his role in yesterday's bench clearing scuffle. It was one of those things where he got mad and he said a few things, but I just feel like I kind of think like he was yelling and they're saying that he's what caused the fight to happen. But I mean, in my opinion, why wouldn't you be mad? Someone's purposely throwing at your head. Like I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, why wouldn't you be mad when you know it's a fastball to your head? Like what are you expecting to be there? I feel like I'm not really mad at him for that. I just can't believe it. I don't know. I mean, I thought that was very stupid. Also, to go back, so this is what I didn't get. Now when it goes to the whole Trevor Bauer thing, Another thing that I thought that caught my eye that I thought was kind of stupid was he violated Major League Baseball's joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy. So now I don't know if they're saying it's all one or they're saying it's three different things that he's done. I cannot tell. I can't tell if it's just one thing or if it's three things. But if it's three things, what the heck? I don't know what to think of this. I just want to point that out. Thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, so what'd you say, Christian?
I was just saying it's.
Yeah.
Just shake my head.
Yeah, that's how we all feel.
Yeah.
The New York Mets are the first team to throw a combined no-hitter against the Phillies. It's the first one of the year, man. We had a lot last season, but this season they've seemed to wind down. Pretty crazy, I think, to think. Kind of cool. Another news, which is Reds. We got some Reds news, boys and girls. The Reds have designated outfielder Aristides, I always mess his name up, Aquino for assignment. This move indicates the end for the Punisher in Cincinnati after Aquino was unable to surpass his 2019 season, which saw Aristides getting his nickname and smashing 19 home runs and 47 RBIs. It's an end to a legend at most. I truly believe that we wouldn't have had a good of a season if Aquino wasn't there. This man single-handedly saved us. I 100% agree in that. I'm gonna be honest, boys. I can't remember what I was last talking about. We had to cut it off for a minute, but I'm tired of it. Christian just showed me this play that I've seen probably for like the 15,000th time today, and it's just I can't stand it. All right, so let's talk about the Reds while we're at it. We were already speaking of the Reds. Let's just keep it going. All right, so we were 3-19. This is the worst start to a season in Reds franchise history. We're about to tie it across with MLB history if we're not careful. This is horrible. Sell the team. When your own manager tells you that, he's trying his best when he just sold not the manager, the owners, when he's trying his best when he just gave away his like top three best, like 1, 2, 3 hitters, he's trying his best. You're being a cheeky person, Phil Castellini. I can't stand you. I hope you sell the team. They don't even have to be in Cincinnati no more. But it's so much embarrassment. I can't stand it. I can't stand it no more. I can't. I mean, like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with your whole, like, bro, and you're going to tell us where you're going to go? I tell you what, not to a Reds game, bro. Never to a Reds game. Never. 3-19. And then look, so Mike, if you can show this play, let's talk about this one. 3 hits. All right, we had 3 chances where it was a pop-up in the air. 3 chances to catch it. First try. Okay, you know what? He caught it against the net. All right, you can argue that one with the umps, whatever. The second one, that was a tough catch. I wouldn't have caught that either. But the third one is downright embarrassing, dude. We've had that every year. We've had that happen to the Reds more than once. We do that all the time, and it's constantly in the infield. And this time we saw it again, and he just barely missed the catch, dropped on the floor. They got a free base.
And the wind, did that? No, it got the screen. And, that's great work by, and it is, wow. I don't know if the jury's going to stay upright. I don't know if I've ever seen 2 in a row. And another pop-up. This one is around the pitcher's mound. And, oh, my goodness.
I mean, absolutely disgraceful. And mind you, it's the Colorado Rockies. It's Colorado. They suck. They are horrible. I mean, like, they used to be garbage. All right. I don't care what anybody says. Last year, they were garbage. This year, they've kicked it up. Yeah, I agree. But they still suck. All right. I don't care what anybody says. They still have their times of just being horrible. All right. And the fact that we just let them stomp all over us like that is absolutely disgraceful. And now we're about to go to Milwaukee and get our butts whooped. in our own division, dude. It is going to be horrible. I promise you. By the end of this year, you're going to see me in a crippling depression because of the Reds. I'm growing gray hairs as I'm talking about this. Just the constant pain and agony, man, of the Reds, of being a Reds fan. I'm waiting for them to wait until Hunter Green and Jonathan India get super good and big, and to the point where they can't pay them, and they just throw them off too while they're at it. I mean, hey, Colorado Rockies, they have Connor Joe. Guess what? That used to be a Reds prospect that we gave away, knowing dang well he was going to be something. And now he's hitting. He has the best batting average in the league. Oh, God, love that. Love that, Reds. Love it. Jesus. Oh, goodness.
I will say that I am quite surprised of the Reds' record. I thought they'd be better this year than last year. That so far, that prediction is not going too well. But I mean, the Rockies are 13-9. The NL West is actually pretty solid right now. I mean, all of them are winning records except for Diamondbacks. But then again, got the Diamondbacks. But like all of our three favorite teams in MLB are losing records. The Braves are 10-13. Mike's favorite team, the Nationals, are 8-16, and then here's the Reds, 3-19. It's just. Yeah, I'm quite surprised with the standings so far this year, to be honest.
Listen, you know your team sucks. I'm sorry, finish what you said.
I was just saying I'm surprised the Guardians are second in the AL Central, but
well, I just like to say this. You know your team sucks when you're worse than the Orioles. That's a great example of when you know your team's garbage, dude. I mean, I hate to be honest, but it's true. Yeah, we're just absolute garbage. They predicted us to be second best in our division, and we're like worse. Like if there was a level of worst in the division, we'd be that. We're our epitome of in hell. I'm like Reds fans are wearing like paper bags. Here's the worst part: not only are they wearing paper bags to the stadiums with like sell the team Bob on it and stuff, the people that work at Red Stadium are making them take it off. That's what's bad to me. I think I'd like to have the nuts of somebody, especially in Ohio. A lot of us are Cincinnati Reds fans. I'd love to see the nuts of somebody go with a Reds branded shirt into a Kroger or a Meijer or a Walmart and just walk around and get no stares from anybody. I would love to see that happen. It's horrible. Any other news? The Seattle Mariners have placed outfielder Mitch Haniger on the 10-day injured list with a right ankle sprain. Right-handed pitcher Dinelson Lamet of the San Diego Padres has been mentioned in a recent trade talks between Padres and other teams as his $4.77 million salary for 2022 could be the reason for a trade. He's obviously not producing what his money is. Hate to be honest, but shoot, at this point, we're all being honest with how the Reds are. Am I right, fellas? In other news, I'm just gonna say this now because I think it is pretty important. Now, if you guys don't know, the fastest recorded pitch ever in baseball history and MLB was 106 by Aroldis Chapman when he was on the Reds. I believe this was in 2014 or 15, maybe even 2013. I mean, it might have been earlier. But now, and the fastest pitch ever in college baseball was by Tennessee righty Ben Joyce, who reportedly threw a 105.5 mile per hour pitch.
Bob, I actually saw 100 in the stadium. They had a closer by the name of
fastball. Insane, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, you see these guys like Hunter Green, and he's just throwing 100 on the dot, and then you look at him and he's throwing hundreds on the dot. I mean, it's a new revelation of pitchers. I think is starting to happen. A new genre.
Facts. And I remember when Hunter was on Sports Illustrated. I remember he was on a cover for Sports Illustrated once. He was I remember he was a very high prospect. He was if I'm correct, didn't he play for Notre Dame in college?
I believe he did, yes.
Yeah, and he's in pros. I think Tennessee in college baseball, they're number one right now, and they have a great team. So they're definitely favorites to win the College World Series, and I'm not surprised they have a great pitching staff, probably pitching rotation. Yeah, I'm quite surprised that 105 and right there, Major League for fastest. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Basketball's next.
Yep. So moving on to the NBA, obviously we got the playoffs still going on. The second round has just started the day we have recorded this, Sunday, May 1st. Wow, can't believe it's already May. So the previous game, so the Memphis Grizzlies did beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, which the Timberwolves really, really surprised me a lot. Shout out to them. I think they got a bright future, kind of like the Suns a little bit. So don't be surprised if you see them in the top 5 in the West next season. But kicking it off with the second round, today's games were the Bucks and the Celtics and the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Bucks and Celtics, pretty much how I felt it would be, except I thought the Celtics were going to make it a little bit closer, but the Bucks are rolling pretty nicely without Chris Middleton right now, obviously with a MCL sprain, I believe, and I'm not entirely sure how long he's going to be out, but Giannis and the rest of the guys are just rolling strong, and that's what I like about Giannis. Yeah, he needs some help, but he uses the players that he has and still continues to do well. He doesn't need to form a super team like a lot of other star players in the league. Looking at you, Kevin Durant and LeBron James. But yeah, shout out to Giannis. I hope the Bucks win the series. They're up 1-0 right now with game 2 being Tuesday. And the Warriors and the Grizzlies. This was a very, very good game. Very back and forth.
Yeah.
Obviously, both teams are tremendous. One thing that was very controversial in this game was Draymond Green's ejection.
Side is foul. And they're going to look at that one as Clark went down. Draymond Green immediately went to look to help him up after the foul. Officials signal they're going to look at it.
That's going to be a flagrant.
No, yeah, I agree. No question. Draymond Green running around the floor. It appears they haven't announced it yet.
James Williams told them that. And Steve Kerr's reaction.
Yep, he's going back to the locker room.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a huge call.
So I can kind of see both sides to this. A lot of people were saying that he was trying to keep the guy from falling. I could see that, but I could also see the official's point of view where he already fouled him and he's just grabbing his jersey. So that's a flagrant. Yeah. So I can understand where the official would throw him out. I'm not going to call the league soft for this one. I wasn't that big of a fan of some of the officiating in the game because there was a couple points where there were some fouls. There was a part where at the end of the game with like 4 seconds left, they had a jump ball when it should have been Warriors ball when it was out on Memphis. But that's minor. So, I don't know, just refs being refs. But, yeah, I think the Warriors will win this series, but it's definitely close.
Yeah, there was a lot of – I watched the first half of that game, and there was a lot of bad calls, I would say, Mike. There was way too many foul calls in the first half. There was a block on Andrew Wiggins when he got blocked by Jaren Jackson. Clean block. He fell from barely getting hit. He was already blocked by Dylan Brooks from the side, and Jaren barely hit him. But it was after the ball was out of his hand, and they called it 2 seconds after the block happened. They called the foul. It was just late calling. And another one, Jonathan, I forgot his last name, but he went for an alley-oop. Yeah, he went for an alley-oop. He got blocked. They called that foul. There's just a bunch of bad calls. Jaren Jackson seemed like they were out for him. And I think one reason was because he kept complaining. It's like, oh, yeah, he's going to keep complaining about us. We're just going to give him more fouls. But Draymond Green, that call, I understand why he would have gotten a flagrant because he didn't have to grab his jersey. But I didn't think that was ejection worthy for sure. But, yeah, John Morant put on a great performance in that game. I mean, he had some really incredible back layups. He had a buzzer beater. Klay Thompson had the game-deciding shot there at the end. But Yeah, it was a really exciting game, and with the Celtics and Bucks, I think that the Bucks will win the series, of course. But I thought Celtics being at home might have taken game one, but they didn't. But I'm really looking forward to the Miami Heat and my 76ers matchup. It's just going to be very hard to predict that.
Right.
Embiid's out for a couple games, so is Kyle Lowry. Just going to be even though I picked the 76ers to advance, if Embiid doesn't return by game 3, I mean, I feel like the Heat could win this series if he doesn't return. And if Tobias Harris struggles like he did in the second round last year. But yeah, that's what I got with that. Suns, Mavericks, I think Suns are going to win that series, but I think Mavericks will try their best, but it's not going to be enough. The Phoenix Suns bench is too loaded compared to Dallas.
Right. I think that the Heat, they're really impressing me. They were playing that 90s defense on the Hawks, really shutting down Trae Young and the other weapons on Atlanta. So I feel like they definitely need to do that to James Harden and Embiid whenever he does come back. Embiid, I feel so bad for him. He had an orbital fracture and a mild concussion. They at first said he was out indefinitely. I was like, oh, God, he's probably going to be out for the rest of the playoffs. But no, I was shocked to hear he might come back for game 3 or game 4 when they return to Philly. So we'll see what happens with that. But I definitely think the Heat will take the first 2. And I don't know. I feel like Heat in 6. I had the 76ers going to the finals originally, but I feel like the Heat, if they continue that style of defense that they've been playing, they can stop the 76ers.
Yeah.
Bucks and Celtics, I got the Bucks in 6. I didn't mention that. And the Warriors and the Grizzlies, I got the Warriors in 6.
Yeah, I had Warriors.
Now, Suns and Mavericks, this should be a pretty interesting series. I think the Suns are going to win. I'm going to say Suns in 6. 6 games all around. Why not?
I would say Suns in 5.
Yeah. I mean, I almost said that, but I mean, I could see the Mavericks doing it in 6. They were very competitive with Utah. So we'll see. I mean, the Suns, if they lose Booker again, I think they might lose this series because they're still good without Booker, but they're not as good with Booker on the team.
True. All right, well, I guess now we'll move on to the NHL. Playoffs are starting for the NHL. And just going to go through a couple of these matchups. So first round, Atlantic Division, we got the Florida Panthers versus the Washington Capitals. Panthers, I feel like, is going to win this series. The Panthers have been really strong this year, 58-18-6 with 122 points. Capitals improved throughout the season. They did improve to 44-26-12. Now, Jonathan, I'm trying to pronounce his last name. Jonathan Huberdeau, if I'm correct, he's leading scorer for the Panthers, 115 points. But I think that if this series starts on Tuesday, unfortunately, all those games are on channels I can't watch, which most of the NHL playoffs are on channels I can't watch. But I think this one's going to be a very underrated series. I think it may go 5, may go 6. Next, if you want, you might give your opinion on these two. Just feel free to interject.
I'm going Panthers in 5. I know they were very dominant from what I heard. See, I like the NHL, but I mostly watch around the playoffs or whenever I can see the Penguins on national TV. So I should definitely watch the Penguins or the NHL more because I really like it, but my team is out of state, and I'm definitely not rooting for the Capitals. I hope the Panthers sweep them, but I don't think that will happen. So I'm going to go Panthers in 5.
All right, this next one I feel like is going to be a very tough one to predict. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Toronto had a huge improvement of 54-21-7. Lightning very close. They're 51-23-8. Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews had a very great year. He had 106 points with 60 goals, 46 assists. And then the Lightning, they have a lot of star power on Tampa Bay. And one of those players, Steven Stamkos, was their leading scorer this year. This is going to be a tough one, Mike, because the records are close. They've played each other. They've I don't know, they haven't really split the series when they play each other, but I think that Tampa Bay, with their experience, is going to win this series, but I want to see Toronto win it.
I'm going to say Tampa Bay wins in 6, maybe 7, but I'm going to go 6.
Now, this next one is going to be a very tough one. The Carolina Hurricanes, number 1 in the Metropolitan, versus the number 4 seed in the Metropolitan, the Boston Bruins. Boston they had a great second half of the season. Their defense got better. They're definitely a really tough team. Carolina Hurricanes, my favorite NHL team. It's gonna be tough. The Bruins. Brad Marchand actually is the leading scorer, even though a lot of people know him to be a dirty player. He's definitely one of the I would say best. I don't know if you say best characters, but definitely can be a character at times. But he can be nice, but also provoke a lot of fights. But that's what Boston Bruins is. I mean, that's their style. But I think that this will be another great series. It's just going to be very tough to predict this. I want to see my Hurricanes win, but I'm going to say they get beat by Boston. But what do you think?
I'm going to go Hurricanes in 5 or 6.
Yeah. Next one, I know I've said this a lot already for every single series, but I think this series is going to be a good one too. We got the Rangers and Penguins. Penguins, what a huge turnaround compared to the way they started the season. I've said this multiple episodes. 46, 25, and 11. They start off season pretty dismal, but once they got their players back from injuries, they put on a great second half, and they got some playoffs. And then the Rangers, they've had a really good year. They were 52, 24, and 6 with 110 points. Penguins, as I said, for their record just a second ago. This one, I feel like the Rangers is going to win the series, but I think the Penguins will make it 7 games.
I hate to say this because I'm a big Penguins fan. I think the Rangers are going to win it. Maybe 6, because the Penguins seem very hit or miss at times. Like sometimes they'll be rolling on all cylinders and they'll score a lot of goals, and then sometimes they'll just get blown out by teams that they should beat. So we'll see what happens. I think they could win maybe a game or 2.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now let's move on to the Central Division. We got the Colorado Avalanche and the Nashville Predators. I'm surprised Nashville got in, considering there was some points where they were just inconsistent. They would lose a bunch and they would win a bunch. But the Predators squeaked in. The Avalanche, they're definitely one of my favorite teams in the NHL. I enjoy watching them play, and I think the Colorado Avalanche will sweep Nashville. Honestly, I think they'll sweep them.
Definitely got to go with Colorado.
Yep, in Colorado, they were 56, 19, and 7 with 119 points. I mean, they're a really good team. And next up, we got the Minnesota Wild versus the St. Louis Blues. This one's very close on paper. I mean, the Wild's 53, 22, and 7. Blues 49, 22, and 11. There was a lot. I've never seen these two teams play early on in the season, and it was really, really exciting to watch them play each other. I gotta go Wild. I mean, they've been really impressive this season. And St. Louis, as much as I like St. Louis, my voice is going away. As much as I like St. Louis as their city and with other teams in St. Louis, I just don't see them winning it. But I think it goes 6 games.
I'm gonna go Wild in 6 as well.
All right, next up, we got the Calgary Flames and Dallas Stars. I don't want to see Dallas win. I'm not a huge Dallas Stars fan, to be honest with you. I don't want to see them win this because Calgary was such a surprise to me because I didn't think they would be this good, but they were. They had a great season from Johnny Gaudreau, 115 points and 40 goals, 75 assists. And with the Stars, I mean, they kind of like got in last minute, sort of like it took them a couple weeks towards the end to finally lock in a spot. But I think Calgary wins this in 5 games. And if not 5, then 6.
I'm going to go Calgary sweep. Why not?
All right. Next up, we got the Edmonton Oilers and the Kings. This is the last playoff matchup in the first round. Edmonton, I'm honestly surprised they got in, but as I've said, with the Pittsburgh, they kind of start off the season slow, and then they got up there, but they also fell back a little bit, but they moved up again. The Kings, they started off the season bad, and it was almost just as bad as the Penguins, but even though they didn't have as many injuries, they worked their way up. And both these teams, almost similar records, 49-27-6, 44-27-11. And Connor McDavid had another great year for the Oilers, 123 points with 44 goals and 79 assists. I want to say Oilers win this one in 6 games.
I'm going to go Oilers in 7.
All righty. Now, before we get to top plays, you got some MLS news. Nashville SC opened their new stadium. It's called Geodis Park. I don't know if that's a company name. If not, if you do know, just comment down below. But they opened a new stadium, and they scored 1-1 today in a draw with the Philadelphia Union. Now, this was a very interesting thing I saw. So there's a U.S. men's national team player named Cowell. He plays for the San Jose Earthquakes, and his younger brother Chance. Both of them, they played on the U.S. national team, but they're basically now in process of being a citizen of Mexico, or Mexican citizenship. So I was kind of surprised by that. But then again, they're legible for that because of their maternal grandfather. But that I noticed this what, as I said, there isn't much MLS news. That's just things that came up. But Cowell, it's his 4th professional season with the Quakes, even though he's only 18. So that means he started when he was 14. It's pretty impressive. He had 7 goals and 8 assists in 59 league and playoff appearances. He was actually called up last year with Mexico's youth national team, but turned down the invite. So we'll see. I don't know who they're playing for in the World Cup, but if when we find that out, we'll let y'all know. Did New York City FC? They've been moving up the ladder in the standings. They won today. They toppled San Jose 3-0 in Yankee Stadium, where the New York Yankees play. The Red Bulls won on a late penalty kick. So looking at the standings, Philadelphia, they've been at the top, and they're still up top. 9-5, or they're 5-3-1 right now. New York is 5-2-2 at second spot. Orlando City SC is 5-2-3, and then CF Montreal is actually 4-2-3. My Charlotte FC, we lost yesterday. I think we lost 2-0. The defense for Charlotte FC has been pretty solid, but the offense just can't get anything going for some reason for us. But we're 3-1-6. Now in the West, Austin FC's on top. They're 6-2-1 with 20 points. The LA teams are 2-3. No surprise there. They're always really solid. And then after them, FC Dallas and Real Salt Lake. So that's all I got with the MLS. Now, I guess the top place.
All right. So starting off the top place, coming in at number 10 is Tim Anderson hits a home run on his first pitch of the game.
Go against Suarez, and the first pitch to TA is slugged to right center field, and this ball is out of here.
Next up, we got Giannis Antetokounmpo's not put back, but off the glass, dunk to himself.
Stout defense, threw it to himself. Oh, he's eviscerating the Celtics inside.
In at number 8, Jalen Brown putback slam.
Williams, another sidestep 3. Oh, Jalen Brown, climb up.
Now, I may butcher this guy's name, but at number 7, we got Elvis Meserlinkus. Big save.
Puck set in front. Malkin denied. Outstanding stop. His biggest of the pass to the right.
In at number 6, Ryan Johansson splits through the defense for the goal.
Johansson powers his way in, hangs onto the puck, he scores!
That was a great one. And at number 5, we got Zach Whitecloud's off crossbar goal.
Looking, turns, put it on net, and he scores!
Now, is that in the USFL or is that in NHL?
NHL.
Okay.
In at number 4, surprise knee bar submission.
At number 3, we got Brian Buxton's 469-foot walk-off home run.
A drive to left field. He has done it again.
Unbelievable.
Nice. In at number 2, man catches foul ball while holding baby and feeding it.
El Paso after Luke Voigt went on the injured list. Bicep soreness. Pops it up. Nice job.
Wow, feeding the baby.
Wow. Holds the bottle, no spillage, baby in perfect bliss, and a souvenir. Nice. Nice.
Also barehanded.
Very impressive. But at number 1, we got Clayton Kershaw becoming the strikeout leader.
Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers strikeout king.
Yep. And so with that, that will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
You want me calling now, you wanting what I think. All these women lie.